Doug Guller, the founder and CEO of Bikinis Sports Bar and Grill, was featured on Undercover Boss, where his actions shocked many. From firing an employee on national television to offering a controversial incentive.
I'm sorry, Jessica. It's not working out. Today's your last day.
Guller didn't exactly play by the rules of empathy seen in typical episode. But while his time on Undercover Boss created headlines, what happened behind the scenes of Bikinis after the cameras stopped rolling tells a much different story, one of decline, reinvention, and the eventual closure of the once famous breastaurant. Let's dive into the rise, fall, and transformation of Guller's empire. Doug Guller was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, where he grew up in a middle-class family that emphasized the importance of hard work and perseverance. From an early age, Guller was drawn to entrepreneurship, showing a keen interest in finding ways to create his own path to success. After completing high school, he attended Villanova University and earned a degree in finance. His background in finance gave him a strong foundation, but his passion for creating businesses and experiences drove him toward more entrepreneurial endeavors. Even during college, Guller's interest in business ventures was evident, foreshadowing his eventual entry into the hospitality industry. Following his graduation from Villanova, Guller's entrepreneurial spirit led him to dive into the world of startups. One of his first ventures was an online food delivery service in the mid-1990s, an idea that was ahead of its time. While the business failed, it became an invaluable learning experience for Guller. Instead of being discouraged, he pivoted his focus, learning the intricacies of management and sales during his time in the corporate world. In 2006, Guller took a bold step by founding Bikinis Sports Bar and Grill in Austin, Texas, a concept that combined his love for sports and hospitality. Inspired by the breastaurant trend, Guller created a chain that quickly gained popularity for its bikini-clad waitresses and sports bar atmosphere. The brand became widely recognized, and in 2012, Guller even trademarked the term breastaurant. Bikinis expanded rapidly across Texas, but Guller's journey in the hospitality industry wasn't limited to just one brand. He continued to explore new ventures, opening other bars, restaurants, and music venues across the state. This foundation set the stage for Guller's dynamic career in the competitive world of hospitality, where he has managed to balance entrepreneurial creativity with business acumen. Doug Guller's Bikinis Sports Bar and Grill took the restaurant industry by storm when it opened its first location in Austin, Texas in 2006.
Hey guys, welcome to Bikinis!
The concept, inspired by the rising trend of breastaurants, was a fusion of sports bar culture with a provocative twist, with servers dressed in bikini tops and cowboy boots. This bold move immediately attracted attention and helped distinguish Bikinis from other sports bars at the time. Patrons were drawn to the lively environment, which featured classic American fare such as burgers, wings, and cold beer, all while providing a prime spot to watch sporting events. Guller's savvy marketing and use of edgy, attention-grabbing tactics played a significant role in the brand's rapid expansion. By 2012, Guller made headlines again by trademarking the term breastaurant, solidifying his place in pop culture. The brand further cemented its unconventional approach when Guller purchased a ghost town in Texas, renamed it Bikinis, Texas, and declared himself the mayor of the town.
You're the mayor of Bikinis, Texas.
I am.
Was there an election?
No.
This move was both a promotional stunt and a testament to Guller's flair for using unique and often audacious marketing strategies to grow his brand. At its peak, Bikinis expanded to multiple locations across Texas and other states, successfully blending its fun, sports-centric atmosphere with provocative branding. However, as the restaurant industry evolved and consumer preferences shifted, Bikinis faced mounting challenges. Guller's appearance on Undercover Boss in 2014, during which he made controversial decisions such as firing an employee for refusing to wear a bikini on camera and offering another employee breast augmentation as a reward.
So you mentioned
Am
that.
I getting a free pair of boobies today?
Is that what you want?
Generated significant public backlash. The episode painted Guller in a controversial light, and the negative press impacted the brand's reputation. By 2018, as the breastaurant trend waned and the public's taste for such concepts dwindled, Bikinis Sports Bar and Grill closed its final location. Guller, ever the entrepreneur, pivoted to a new venture by transforming the remaining space into BBG's, a more traditional sports bar with a toned-down approach. BBG's was designed to appeal to a broader demographic by shifting away from the provocative provocative themes that defined Bikinis, and focusing instead on a family-friendly sports bar environment. Despite its eventual closure, Bikinis remains a key example of how bold marketing and a provocative business model can carve out a niche in the restaurant industry, even if only for a time. Doug Guller has kept much of his personal life away from the public eye, but some insights into his character and lifestyle have emerged over the years. Known for his bold and unconventional business moves,
Last year, Doug Guller bought an old abandoned town about 10 miles south of Fredericksburg, and he changed the name to Bikinis, Texas.
like purchasing a ghost town in Texas and renaming it Bikinis, Guller brings the same adventurous spirit to his personal life. He often describes himself as a big family guy, taking pride in spending time with his siblings, nieces, and nephews, and organizing trips to places like Scotland and Ireland. While there's little information about romantic relationships or marriages, Guller's focus seems to be on his entrepreneurial ventures and maintaining strong family connections. He has mentioned in interviews that his personal and professional lives are closely linked, with a strong emphasis on building experiences and relationships within his companies. Despite the limited public details, Guller's personal life appears to be rooted in his core values of hard work, adventure, and family. After 6 years of success with Bikini's Sports Bar and Grill, Doug Guller saw the potential marketing power that reality TV could offer and made the decision to join the cast of Undercover Boss. The show, which features executives going undercover in their own companies to observe the inner workings, presented Guller with the opportunity to both gain insight into his business and generate publicity for his unique restaurant chain. Guller appeared in season 6 of the show, where he went undercover as Jake Green, an aspiring entrepreneur eager to learn the ropes of the restaurant industry. The episode stood out for its dramatic moments, beginning with Guller explaining his entrepreneurial journey and ambitions within the restaurant business. As Jake Green, he worked in several different positions at his Bikinis locations, engaging with employees who had no idea he was their boss. His experiences range from serving customers to observing the struggles of his staff on the front lines. Guller, now disguised as Jake, went to Richardson, TX, to work as a bartender. There, he met Jessica, a bartender at that branch. They greeted each other, and he noticed that she wasn't wearing a bikini. He asked if she wasn't supposed to wear one. Jessica explained that since they were on TV and cameras were present, she chose to wear a t-shirt. Jake listened to her explanation, but didn't say anything to avoid blowing his cover, though he was angry because the staff were all supposed to wear bikini tops, jean shorts, and cowboy boots.
You wear a bikini top, jean shorts, and cowboy boots.
Shortly after, a customer noticed her attire and asked why she wasn't in a bikini. Jessica simply responded that she chose to wear a shirt. When the customer asked if she would take it off later, she said she wouldn't, which infuriated Jake. Later, Jessica began explaining how the bar operated and showed Jake where the mugs and liquor were. After listening to her instructions, Jake started serving drinks, but he struggled and worked slowly, even breaking a few mugs. When Jake noticed one customer drinking heavily, he became concerned. He brought it up to Jessica, but she brushed it off, which further angered Jake.
This guy's pretty hammered.
He's not too bad at all.
Jake immediately considered it a safety issue and asked Jessica to give the customer water since he was being overserved. He nearly dropped his undercover act, but the manager intervened, so Jake decided to leave the situation to him. After the customer left with the manager, Jessica suggested they take a break. Outside, Jake asked her how long she had been working there. Jessica mentioned she had been at Bikinis for 9 months, leaving her previous job when the company went bankrupt. As they continued talking, Jake learned that Jessica actually disliked her job and was looking for another one. Jake asked if she'd be interested in a sales job at Bikinis, but she made it clear she didn't want to work there at all. This gave Jake the impression that Jessica lacked any passion for the job.
I'm not happy having her on board with the lack of passion that she has in our company.
After their break, they returned to the bar. After the unpleasant day with Jessica, Jake headed to San Antonio, TX, to work with the kitchen supervisor at another branch. This location had been struggling due to inconsistency in the kitchen, but had seen improvement over the past 6 months. Jake wondered if this was due to the new supervisor. Upon arrival, Jake asked for Henry, the kitchen supervisor, and after being directed to him, he greeted Henry. Henry was taken aback by Jake's appearance, his nail polish, and excessive jewelry, but greeted him nonetheless. He then showed Jake where the ingredients and sauces were located and explained their serving process. Henry demonstrated how to fry and serve wings, emphasizing that the presentation should be neat and visually appealing, which pleased Jake. As they began working together, Henry gave Jake numerous tasks, which quickly overwhelmed him. If Jake made a mistake, Henry would return the dish for correction. Despite the pressure, Jake admired Henry's attention to detail and the care he took in ensuring each serving met high standards.
We talk about at corporate all the time, so the fact that he is teaching this phrase to me, I'm super excited about it.
Later, Henry informed Jake that they needed to do the dishes themselves since the branch didn't have dishwashers. Jake asked if they received any support from the owners, but Henry explained that they didn't. Realizing this was unfair, as the kitchen was almost always busy, Jake made a mental note to address this issue. While they were working, Henry received a call from his wife. He shared with Jake that she was upset because he was supposed to visit his grandkids earlier, but couldn't make it. Jake acknowledged the significant sacrifice Henry was making, and Henry confirmed, adding that sacrifices were necessary. He mentioned how hard he had worked to secure his position and intended to continue, even though his promotion hadn't come with a raise. Jake was unhappy to learn that Henry wasn't being compensated as he deserved. When Jake asked if Henry loved what he did, Henry expressed that he did, and Jake admired his passion and dedication to his work.
I wish right now that I could clone Henry and take him to multiple kitchens.
Jake's next destination was Arlington, TX, where he worked as a server. This location was significant because it was the first restaurant they opened in Dallas, making it the flagship branch. Upon arrival, Jake met Grace, a server who showed him the basics, such as greeting customers and writing the specials on the board. She mentioned that the restaurant gets crowded during happy hour, though sometimes it's slow. Jake began working alongside Grace. While serving, he made an inappropriate comment about a customer, which infuriated Grace. She quickly told him that he couldn't just say whatever came to mind to customers.
Guys, for anything you say, because this is my money we're dealing with at the end of the day. We're not dealing with your money. We're not dealing with someone else's money. We're dealing with mine.
Later, while Grace was showing him how to set silverware, since it was a slow time with only a couple of customers, Jake started thinking something was wrong with the restaurant's marketing. He also noticed the bikini babes, the servers, gathered in a group chatting, which Jake felt was unprofessional. As he and Grace were talking to a customer, she received a call and left, which Jake thought was entirely inappropriate. After Grace left, Jake spoke with the bikini babes and learned that there were significant management issues affecting the restaurant's operations. While outside, Jake asked Grace how long she had worked at the restaurant. She told him that since starting there, she had been fired 4 or 5 times for reasons like not showing up for work and other issues. She then complained about the management, describing them as ununderstanding and disrespectful. Although Grace mentioned that she loved the job because it was easy, she expressed her frustration with the management, which was the main aspect she disliked. Jake's final trip was to Dallas, TX, where he worked as a manager. Upon arrival, he met Megan, the current manager. She explained that they would begin with a huddle where they made sure the servers were wearing the correct uniforms and went over general instructions. Megan immediately started asking the servers to state the size of their bikinis, which made Jake happy as it aligned with company expectations.
Into the ABCs of bikinis, which was awesome.
Later, they worked on fixing the TV, which had multiple confusing buttons. Jake struggled to figure it out, and when Megan returned, she noticed his difficulties. After sorting out the TV, Jake rejoined Megan, and together they checked on each table. During the day, 2 servers dressed up and left through the back door. Megan informed Jake that they would no longer be working there, which marked the end of their shift.
Why would they quit the team? So I kind of felt like they were quitting me, and that was a little hard for me to take.
They then started working on job applications together. During their conversation, Megan opened up about her financial struggles, explaining that her husband had lost his job. On top of that, her daughter had recently undergone 2 surgeries, one for her teeth and another for her neck. Jake realized that Megan was dealing with a lot of personal challenges on top of managing the restaurant.
Tough challenges that she's currently facing and has faced in the past.
It was finally time for Jake to reveal his true identity to the employees. They were all invited to Austin, Texas. One by one, Doug Guller, in his true form, sat down with each employee. Introducing himself as Doug, the CEO and founder of Bikinis Sports Bar and Grill, he revealed that he had been Jake all along, and that they were, in fact, on the reality show Undercover Boss. The employees were shocked and surprised by the reveal, as Doug shared his experiences from working undercover and the lessons he had learned about their challenges and struggles. The first person Doug Guller sat down with during the big reveal was Jessica. He began the conversation by expressing his disappointment in their earlier interactions. starting with her decision not to wear a bikini during filming. Guller explained that, as part of the restaurant's uniform policy, all staff were expected to adhere to the dress code, and this had frustrated him. He then brought up the situation with the man who had been overserved and emphasized that Jessica should have handled it immediately to avoid any safety risks. Next, Guller addressed something more personal, Jessica's admission that she hated her job. He expressed his concerns about her lack of passion for the role, which further contributed to his decision. Finally, Guller delivered the news that this would be her last day at Bikinis, and she would no longer be working there. Hearing this, Jessica burst into tears. Guller, trying to soften the blow, mentioned that he would help her find a new job using his connections. However, despite his offer of assistance, Jessica was too upset and stormed out, crying angrily.
What person is everyone happy with the job they have right when they have it? No.
The next person Doug Guller sat with was Grace. He started by telling her how much he enjoyed working alongside her and commended her efforts and passion for the job. Guller appreciated her dedication and energy, which stood out during their time together. However, Guller addressed one issue that had caught his attention: Grace's use of her phone during working hours. He kindly but firmly told her that it was important to put the phone away during shifts to stay focused on customers and work responsibilities. Next, he touched on the marketing concerns Grace had mentioned. Guller revealed that they would be hiring a new director of marketing to improve business, and to Grace's surprise, he offered her the opportunity to lead the initiative. Along with this new responsibility, he promised her an increase in pay, which delighted Grace. Finally, Guller brought up her desire for a breast augmentation, something they had discussed earlier. He told Grace that if she performed well over the next 6 months, the company would cover the cost of the surgery. This news made Grace incredibly happy, and she left the meeting feeling excited about it.
All right.
Cool.
Sounds good. If I have new boobies, this just makes my job so much easier.
Next, it was Henry's turn to speak with Doug Guller. Guller started by praising Henry's performance, calling him an amazing supervisor, and acknowledging the significant improvements he had seen in the kitchen under Henry's leadership. As a reward for his hard work, Guller announced that Henry would be receiving a 30% raise, a gesture that left Henry grateful and overwhelmed. But the good news didn't stop there. Guller then told Henry that he would also be receiving all the back pay since his promotion to kitchen supervisor, a recognition of the hard work Henry had been putting in without proper compensation. Henry was deeply thankful, expressing his gratitude repeatedly. To top it all off, Guller offered Henry $10,000 to take his family on a well-deserved vacation. The gesture brought Henry to tears of joy, and in an emotional moment, Guller hugged him, comforting him as Henry expressed his overwhelming happiness and gratitude.
I'm a bikini man. Not that I wear one, but I'm a bikini man all the way, yeah.
The last person Doug Guller met with was Megan. He thanked her for her effort and passion, especially noting how she used social media to recruit new employees. Guller asked if her techniques could be applied across all branches, which she liked. He then offered her a consulting position with an 8% annual raise. Remembering her daughter's surgeries, Guller promised to cover all the medical expenses. Additionally, he gifted her $10,000 to help her move into a new home. Megan, deeply moved, expressed her heartfelt gratitude for his generosity. As promised, Grace was promoted to bartender, taking on more responsibilities in her role, which excited her.
There, it doesn't mean you're not going to go anywhere. Just keep on trying harder and things will improve. Look what happened to Mom.
Henry received his back pay and used part of it to buy a new car, while also planning a long-awaited trip to Ireland with his wife. Megan fulfilled her dream of owning a home with a backyard, giving her and her family more space to live comfortably. Unfortunately, Jessica, who had faced issues during her time at Bikinis, was ultimately fired after her meeting with Doug Guller. Doug Guller's appearance on Undercover Boss brought immediate attention to Bikinis Sports Bar and Grill, but it also sparked a series of events that would contribute to the brand's eventual downfall. The Undercover Boss episode caused an immediate stir. The most controversial moments, such as Guller firing Jessica for not wearing a bikini on camera.
So, I'm sorry, Jessica. It's not working out. Today's your last day.
and offering a breast augmentation to another employee as a reward ignited a public debate about workplace ethics and respect for employees. These moments were seen as exploitative and reinforced the negative stereotypes associated with the breastaurant industry. Critics took to social media, and the episode's fallout damaged the brand's image beyond repair. The negative media coverage spread quickly, casting a shadow over the entire chain. Many saw Guller's decisions as symbolic of a toxic work culture. The novelty of the breastaurant concept, which had initially attracted attention, began to wear thin. As societal views on workplace equality and the treatment of employees evolved, the idea of bikini-clad waitresses serving food in a sports bar became less appealing to a broad audience. The concept that once set bikinis apart was now viewed as exploitative and out of touch with shifting consumer values. In contrast, more inclusive and family-friendly restaurants were gaining traction, making it increasingly difficult for bikinis to remain relevant. In addition to the public backlash, bikinis faced internal challenges. Employees reported dissatisfaction with the work environment, citing a lack of support from management and the feeling that they were not being treated with respect. Several former employees also spoke out about the grueling work conditions, including the expectation to adhere to strict dress codes without proper compensation. While no major lawsuits were publicized, the internal discontent was evident. Employees like Grace and Henry, highlighted in the Undercover Boss episode, shed light on the high turnover and difficulties workers faced. As public sentiment turned, bikinis began to experience a steady decline in popularity. Customer traffic dwindled, and it became increasingly difficult for the chain to compete with other sports bars that offered a more modern and inclusive environment. The initial allure of the provocative concept began to fade, and bikinis was left struggling to retain its relevance. As other sports bars and casual dining chains embraced more progressive themes, bikinis' once unique approach seemed increasingly outdated. This shift in consumer preferences took a toll on sales. In the years following the Undercover Boss episode, bikinis began to close several locations. By 2018, the brand was facing financial difficulties that forced Guller to shut down the last remaining bikinis location in Austin. The closure marked the end of an era for the once popular chain. Despite the downfall of bikinis, Guller attempted to salvage the business by pivoting toward a more sustainable model. He transformed the remaining bikinis location into BBG's, a sports bar with a broader and more inclusive appeal. While the new concept offered the familiar sports bar atmosphere, it shed the controversial dress code and focused on serving a wider demographic. This shift allowed Guller to re-enter the market with a cleaner, less divisive brand, though it lacked the bold marketing and media buzz that once defined bikinis. The Undercover Boss episode showcased many of the internal challenges bikinis faced. From Jessica's frustrations with management to Grace's personal struggles, the show painted a picture of a company where employees feel underappreciated and unsupported. Doug Guller's attempts to connect with his staff revealed systemic issues in the company culture. While Guller took steps to address some of these concerns, including giving Henry a raise and offering Grace more responsibilities, the show's exposure of the chain's internal flaws made it difficult for bikinis to recover. Bikinis' decline also highlighted the broader challenges facing the breastaurant industry. While provocative themes had once been a selling point, the industry as a whole began facing similar scrutiny. Brands like Hooters and Twin Peaks also struggled with changing public opinions as the focus shifted toward more respectful and inclusive dining experiences. Bikinis' downfall was a symptom of a larger cultural shift away from objectification in the workplace, making it a case study in how rapidly consumer expectations can change. The Undercover Boss episode may have shown a spotlight on Guller and bikinis, but the resulting scrutiny revealed deeper issues with the brand's business model, leading to its eventual downfall. Thank you for watching, and if you want to watch more videos like this, then subscribe to the channel below. Like the video and comment on who you want is to cover next.